Good afternoon. Welcome to Kenya News Update today. I'm your host, and we're diving into a global story with significant implications for governance, accountability, and the intersection of politics and public service. The resignation of a UK government minister, despite being cleared of wrongdoing, has sparked a wide-ranging debate about political pressure, public perception, and the standards we hold our leaders to. This story connects to a broader pattern we're seeing worldwide, from European security concerns to high-profile resignations in cultural institutions, and even right here in Kenya. We'll break it all down over the next 12 minutes. First, the facts. On Saturday, a junior minister in Prime Minister Keir Starmer's UK government resigned. This minister, who was a key figure in developing a new national digital identification scheme, stepped down just over a year into Starmer's premiership. The reason? He stated that his continued presence in the government had become a distraction. This came after an investigation cleared him of breaching the ministerial code regarding his involvement in commissioning an investigation of journalists. So, he was exonerated, but he still felt compelled to leave. This raises immediate questions. Was this a principled stand to protect the government from negative headlines? Or was it a sign of deeper, unspoken pressures within the Starmer administration? To understand this, we need to look at the context. The UK government, like many in Europe, is navigating a complex landscape. According to reports from The Guardian Africa, European nations backing Ukraine are on high alert for Russian hybrid warfare tactics. Just this week, the Swedish military confirmed it jammed a Russian drone operating near a French aircraft carrier. This incident, occurring just 13 kilometers from the carrier, has heightened fears that Moscow may attempt to interfere in upcoming European elections as part of a broader strategy. Against this backdrop of external security threats, internal political stability becomes even more critical. A minister resigning under a cloud of controversy, even a cleared cloud, creates vulnerability. Some analysts argue the resignation was a tactical necessity. They point to the intense scrutiny of the Starmer government, which promised a break from the scandals of previous administrations. Having a minister, even a cleared one, constantly linked to an investigation into press freedom could undermine that promise. The distraction was real, they say, and the minister did the honorable thing by removing it. Critics, however, see it differently. They argue this sets a dangerous precedent where the court of public opinion, fueled by media speculation, can force out a public servant who has been officially cleared of misconduct. It suggests, they say, that the threshold for holding office is no longer legal or ethical clearance, but the absence of any controversy whatsoever. This could deter talented individuals from public service. Now, let's zoom out. This is not an isolated incident. We are seeing a pattern of high-profile resignations in early 2026, often linked to perceptions of failure or controversy, rather than proven guilt. In France, just days ago, the director of the world-renowned Louvre Museum, Laurence Descartes, resigned. This came months after a dramatic robbery in February 2026, where crown jewels worth €88 million were stolen in what was dubbed the heist of the century. President Emmanuel Macron accepted her resignation, calling it a responsible move to ensure the museum's stability. Notably, Descartes had offered to resign immediately after the break-in, but was asked to stay. Her departure now suggests that ultimate accountability for security failures, even in cultural institutions, rests at the top. The parallel to the UK minister is clear. A leader takes responsibility for a negative event under their watch, regardless of the direct findings of an investigation. The Louvre employs over 2,000 staff and welcomes nearly 10 million visitors annually. A security breach of that magnitude demanded a symbolic act of accountability. Closer to home, in Homa Bay County, we saw Deputy Governor Joseph Oyugi Magwenga resign on Thursday, citing irreconcilable differences with Governor Gladys Wanga. He detailed specific frustrations. His office was allegedly locked in December 2025, his official vehicle was withdrawn, and another was not fueled. He stated he was unable to effectively deputize due to these constraints. This resignation, while in a different political context, touches on the same theme, the untenable working environment that can force a resignation, even when no formal legal breach is cited. Magwenga was elected alongside Wanga in 2022 with a mandate to serve a full term. His early exit disrupts that mandate and raises questions about gubernatorial leadership and the utilization of deputy governors. So, what connects these stories? It's the evolving concept of political and institutional accountability. It's no longer just about being found guilty or innocent. It's about stewardship, perception, and the ability to command public confidence. In the digital age, where news cycles are relentless, the distraction a minister cited can genuinely hamper governance. A government battling Russian disinformation campaigns can ill afford self-inflicted controversies. A world-class museum recovering from a historic theft needs a clean slate. A county government promising development cannot be bogged down by public spats between its top officials. But there's a counter-argument. Is this new standard too harsh? Does it incentivize a cover-up culture, where problems are hidden to avoid the appearance of failure? If a minister knows any investigation, even one that clears them, could end their career, might they be less likely to report potential issues? If a museum director fears automatic resignation after any theft, however sophisticated, does that create a climate of fear? Let's bring in some numbers to frame this debate. Consider the scale of the institutions involved. The UK government department, the junior minister worked for overseas a digital ID budget projected to be in the billions of pounds. The Louvre's annual operating budget exceeds €250 million. Homa Bay County's annual budget for the 2025/2026 financial year is approximately 13.5 billion shillings. The stakes for effective, unimpeded leadership are enormous. When a key leader departs unexpectedly, it can cause significant disruption. Projects stall, morale dips, and strategic momentum is lost. For the UK's digital ID scheme, a pet project of this minister, his departure could delay implementation by 6 to 12 months, according to some industry estimates. At the Louvre, the search for a new director will involve a global hunt, potentially taking another 6 months, during which major acquisition and exhibition plans may be put on hold. In Homa Bay, the Constitution allows the governor to nominate a new deputy governor within 14 days, subject to approval by the county assembly. This process itself can become politicized, diverting attention from legislative agendas. Now, let's analyze the political calculus. For Prime Minister Starmer, accepting this resignation might be seen as strengthening his hand. It demonstrates a no-nonsense approach and allows him to appoint a new minister with a completely clean slate, free from any association with the journalist investigation. It could be a short-term pain for long-term gain. However, it also risks alienating allies who may feel the minister was treated unfairly. It could create an impression of a government that throws its own members overboard at the first sign of trouble. For President Macron, the Louvre resignation manages a crisis. It provides a clear narrative: a failure occurred, accountability was taken, and now the institution moves forward. It's a classic crisis management tactic. For Governor Wanga, the deputy's resignation could consolidate her power if the deputy was a source of internal opposition. However, it also exposes her to criticism about her management style and ability to foster cohesive leadership. The deputy's claims of a locked office and withdrawn vehicles, if perceived as petty, could damage her reputation. Stepping back, this trend speaks to a globalized media and political environment. A resignation in London is analyzed in Nairobi. The pressures facing a French museum director are understood by Kenyan county officials. The common thread is the relentless demand for flawless performance and the rapid, often unforgiving, judgment when that ideal is not met. This has been accelerated by social media, where narratives are formed and solidified in hours, not days. A minister can be cleared on a Friday and still be a trending topic for all the wrong reasons on Saturday, forcing their hand. So, where does this leave us? Are we entering an era of hyper-accountability, where leaders must be not only clean but also controversy-free? Or are we witnessing the erosion of due process, where the verdict of an official investigation is outweighed by the court of public opinion? The answer likely lies somewhere in the middle. The UK minister's case is particularly nuanced because he was cleared. His resignation was, in his own words, about being a distraction. This is a subjective, political judgment, not a legal one. It acknowledges that in modern governance, the ability to govern effectively is tied to the ability to communicate and maintain public trust. A perpetual media storm around one individual can cripple that. However, we must guard against a system where innuendo and allegation are enough to force a resignation. The integrity of independent investigations must be paramount. If their findings are routinely ignored in favor of political expediency, they become meaningless. The challenge for democracies is to find a balance, upholding rigorous standards without creating a culture of zero tolerance for any whiff of controversy, which may deter honest public service. In Kenya, as we watch these international events unfold, they offer lessons. They highlight the importance of clear, transparent processes for investigating allegations against public officers. They underscore the need for strong, supportive working relationships within government, from the national level down to the counties, to avoid the kind of operational frustrations cited in Homa Bay. And they remind us that in an interconnected world, the standards of accountability are increasingly global. As we conclude, the story of the UK minister, who resigned despite being cleared, is more than a political footnote. It is a window into the modern pressures of leadership. It connects to security fears in Europe, crisis management in France, and local politics in Kenya. It's a story about power, perception, and the price of public service in the 21st century. The debate it sparks is crucial for the health of our institutions everywhere. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to Kenya News Update today.